Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Harakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great most under all well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. What is that? Okay. Yeah, got this article on CNBC going into these fertilizer prices, because it's more or less everything that's it's more or less the the global impact that's been had just from the Ukraine-Russia conflict. It's actually wild because it really shows, uh, you know, when it ramps up and then you get that truly global conflict. It's actually gonna be nuts. It's gonna be kind of wild because more or less the supplies for a lot of things are gonna become a madness. Like pricing of certain things is gonna be madness. Getting to doing certain activities are gonna become a complete myth. It's like with the UK being an island, it just means that so many things are just not even gonna be in the country, and it's like with it's because fuel prices leak into everything. It's like the price of everything is gonna go up, and then a lot of smaller things that people don't really think about are gonna go up. There's gonna be a lot of harvests that are just gonna be fucking disintegrating on in the field with no one to get it. It's gonna be immense. It's gonna be immense. Like it's really truly gonna be felt in all angles, and people are gonna completely fold, man. They're basically gonna be looking to clamoring you know to Esau, to the so-called white man, for any soothing balm, any relief. They're just gonna be looking to try and get as far away from the hardship as possible, because it's gonna be legendary, and people are not ready. People are too used to being able to live their life with um, all the comforts they've got used to. Fertilizer prices are at record highs. Here's what that means for the global economy. So this is what price for raw materials that constitute the fertilizer market: ammonia, nitrogen, nitrates, phosphates, potash, and sulfates are up 30% since the turn of the year. Russia and Ukraine are among the most important producers of agricultural commodities in the world, with exportable supplies in global foodstuff and fertilizer markets concentrated in a small number of countries. So that, bro, that's the thing as well. It's bro. There's so many industries that are just basically upheld, or the only reason you're allowed it can run as smooth as it does is because of the amount of people supplying it, the places, all the different what's the word? Not pipelines. The what do they? Maybe it is a pipeline. Basically, how the products are moved. It's not pipeline. It's a different word. How products get from A to B, or logistics, the logistics of it, all the logistics that basically work out to get an inside. A lot of products, or basically like the logistics, is why there's even a point in making it, like to make a profit off it. If certain parts, a certain chain, part of the chain, the logistics become unbearable. Like if the fuel hits a price where no matter what, the distance you're gonna have to deliver that, it becomes meaningless to sell it. You might as well sell it locally or keep it locally or whatever, or hold it in storage till a further season. Then that's gonna be gone from the market. That's gonna disintegrate. Uh, supply shortages fueled by the Ukraine-Russia conflict, along with a host of pre-existing factors, have driven fertilizer prices to record highs. Prices for raw materials that constitute the fertilizer market: ammonia, nitrogen, nitrates, Phosphates, potash, and sulfates are up 30% since the turn of the year and now exceed those seen during the food and energy crisis in 2020? Well, 2008. So yeah, it said it exceeds 2008. 2008 was fucking peak, man. That shit was that shit was never ending. And it's real. That's it's like more or less anyone that's kind of millennial generation. Zoomers might remember somewhat, but it's really like millennials would have been turning like 18 around the time that it kicked in. So they would have just come into come into the world, and it would have been fucked. Shit would have been a mess. Uh, According to British commodity consultancy CRU, Russia and Ukraine are among the most important producers of agricultural commodities in the world, with exportable supplies in global foodstuff and fertilizer markets concentrated in a small number of countries. Yeah, there's some products where it might be like 70-80% will just come from one place. And it's like, if something happens there, or in between the route they might be taking, it gets peak. and that's why, you know, as far as the businesses of people, they people on a lower level really don't want war because it's they're not, they're just not running like with like the Rothschilds. Them guys, they can grow, they can grow their own food. They can have stores and supplies and various things. They can have bunkers. They can have all kinds of shit to where their quality of life is not going to be affected or shifted in any way by a global conflict. Meanwhile, the general populace are basically going to go to they people in the first world are going to be feeling that third world lifestyle. Okay. In 2021, Russia was the world's top exporter of nitrogen fertilizers and second largest supplier of both potassic and phosphorus fertilizers, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Trade between Russia and the rest of the world has not stopped, but has been severely disrupted as importers and vessel charterers steer clear of the country in light of the invasion of Ukraine. Yeah, no one can even go there to pick shit up, because if they do, then the US is just gonna be like, eh? Is gonna suplex them. That shit gets to the US. That shit, them sanctions are doing work. uh, CRU head of fertilizers Chris Lawson said on Tuesday, Russia, which accounts for around 14% of global fertilizer exports, has temporarily suspended outgoing trade, which is expected to have a strong ripple effect across the global food market. Furthermore, gas is a key input for fertilizer production. High gas prices have resulted in the curtailing of production in regions such as Europe, further constricting an already tight market. Yeah, the peakest part is there might still be um, enough to kind of keep shit in the market, but people will just be like, oh, okay, look, it looks like there's a shortage coming. We're just gonna hold back and increase our stores, just in case. And it's like with the transistor, was it transistors? I think it was transistors, where they just had a chip shortage. The chip shortage, that kind of has let everyone know, like, you might want to form your own kind of supplies for various things that might be essential, to keep your country's economy running. So previously, where it might have stayed more open, now they're just going to be like, okay, no, we need to stockpile a bit more than before. And that's the thing. These things are all combined disasters. Meanwhile, sanctions on Russian ally Belarus have substantial implications for the potash market, with Russia and Belarus contributing a combined 40% of annual traded volumes. Yes, that's almost half. That market's where the prices are gonna start going up exponentially, and the price of everything's going up because the price of fuel's gone up. Bruh, it's actually peak. Since the beginning of 2020, nitrogen fertilizers prices have increased fourfold. That is fucking insane. While phosphate and potash prices over threefold. While farmers in developed markets have benefited from high agricultural commodity prices, helping to partly offset high input prices, demand destruction, and that's the thing is that's for the farmers. That's not for the customer. that price increase is being is been passed on. That's what people have been noticed. Um, Helping to partly offset high input prices, demand destruction is increasingly likely due to high prices and supply shortfalls. Economies around the world are already dealing with historically high inflation, driven largely by soaring food and energy prices. The UN Food and Agriculture Index shows food prices are at an all-time high, and Lawson suggested that a prolonged period of fertilizer shortage will affect longer-term farming yields. Yeah, that too as well, because that fertilizer is the only way global farming is even able to run on any kind of level. Because why? The land sale is not observed, and that's why you've had it's essentially fertilizers have allowed them to artificially continue to utilize the destroyed earth, that overtilled earth, to actually get to bear fruit. So it's like if they're not using that, then then them harvests are starting to fail, man. Given the already tight grains and oilseeds market and the importance of both Russia and Ukraine in those markets, food price inflation is an increasingly prominent risk, he added. Prior to the threat of reduced supplies from Russia and Belarus, fertilizer prices had already been facing upward pressure from global supply chain. That's the word, supply chain. Logistics of the global supply chain. Disruptions, a Chinese export ban, and a Canadian rail strike. Fucking hell. Yeah, China's been stockpiling hella shit. But there's more. I think that's hit the point on the head, man. These issues, and it's because everything runs in a global economy now. It's all globalized. It's all linked up. It's all interwoven. So, here's what that means for the global economy. Yeah, it's all interwoven. So, everyone's gonna feel the burn, just like with fuel prices. And the funny thing is you do have like America's sitting on hella barrels. They could loose up some barrels, and at least even just in the US, kind of ease off the price a bit, tone it down. But they ain't gonna do that. It's about causing that squeeze, causing that crunch, causing the people to feel the pain. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yashab, Shem Kaklash Shalom. Shalom.